That's all good and well, Joe, but there's just one problem. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Biden administration pardoning low-level marijuana offenses on the federal level. Now, as I said in the very beginning of this video, there's just one problem with that. Who's going to the penitentiary for weed? Just weed by itself. Like, okay, you got a bag of weed in your car, you're driving on the interstate, you get pulled over. Are you going to the federal penitentiary? You're not even going to jail for that. I remember back in the day in Virginia, I saw a police officer get on TV and say that if you get pulled over and you got a little bit of weed on you, that's not even worth a ticket. Nothing will happen to you for having a little bit of weed on you. Okay. It's to the point now where I'm smelling weed smoke in shopping malls and everywhere else in the country. Who's going to the penitentiary for weed? Now, before I go any further in it, there's a video from Biden talking about this. And after we get done watching it, I'll give more of my reaction. And if you want to see this in full without me talking on it, the link shall be in the description box. But let's go ahead and roll it.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities.
The funny part about this is that he wrote the 1994 crime bill where a lot of the drug stuff came from. So now he's just trying to turn over a new leaf without acknowledging that he is part of the whole thing. But I'll talk about that a little bit later.
And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates.
That's so silly. That whole thing right there. I'm gonna address that right now because I've heard that quite a bit over the years, talking about that you're comparing apples to oranges, and this is a way to just fool people that don't really understand what's going on. You're comparing the rates of usage to the criminality behind the drug business. Okay, just because somebody might smoke weed does not mean they also sell it, or they're out in the streets with a gun trying to protect their territory, or they go robbing another drug dealer to re-up their own supply. Okay, you're talking about two different things. The normie at the house smoking a blunt or a joint compared to the guy that's on the streets shooting and killing and thugging and drugging, trying to make a living like that. That's two different worlds. So let's not compare apples to oranges.
Higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
Okay, so that's your man, Joe Biden, talking about his approach to weed going forward. And what lovely timing, right? Right in October, right before the November elections, midterm elections. He's just trying to buy some favor and trying to buy your vote by saying, hey, we're basically going to legalize weed. And if you're in a penitentiary for a low-level possession, then you'll be able to get pardoned. But I'm willing to bet you're not going to find anybody in the penitentiary that's in there exclusively for a low-level weed possession. I mean, unless you're El Chapo or you have a whole 18-wheeler with 1,000 million pounds of weed in the back, you're not going to the penitentiary for weed. It's just not really a thing. It's not. And if anybody wants to correct me, y'all let me know. Well, I will say this. I'll give you this little olive branch to those that say, well, yes, you can, ABL. Well, actually, I'll give you an olive branch. If you had a gun with a switch on the back and stolen property, stolen cars, all kind of stuff, and you had weed, okay, yeah, you'll be in jail and weed could be listed as part of your 18 charges, but I don't think weed is the top of the list, okay? Like somebody like Young Thug, right? Or these guys in Atlanta that are getting locked up. They have 50 murders and or just shootings under their belt. 50 shootings and or murders. Then they got the machine guns with Glocks with a switch on the back. Then they have all these different things that would mount up to a federal offense. And then in there might be weed. Or here's another one. Another olive branch for you guys. If you are driving in your car, you're smoking weed in the car, the cops smell weed, ooh, 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 pull over. Oh, here go a gun. Oh, here go a knife with some DNA on it. Oh, here goes some pills. Oh, here goes some fentanyl. That's how that happens. Yes, you got pulled because of the weed smoke, but what did they find in your car? That's how that works. That's how it always goes down. So this right here is nothing burger. Anybody going to be affected by this? And here's what I want to ask. If somebody had weed possession as part of their long, crazy list of charges that they got sent to the penitentiary for, and they're pardoned for one of the charges, does that dismiss the entire case against them? So if you are doing 100 years in jail and some of your sentence was because of the weed and the weed gets taken away, are you going to do 99 years now? Are you going to do 50 years? Are you going to come home? That's what I want to know. That'd be crazy to get pardoned for that offense, but still be locked up for the rest of your life. I think that might be what's going on here. Like I said, it's midterm times. The elections are upon us. So they got to do things to make people say, hey, you know what? I like that Joe Biden. I'm going to go vote for him. And I'm seeing that right now on social media. Yes, weed should be legal. Legalize weed. He's doing a great thing, all this and that and the third. But really, it's not really going to be of any consequence when you're talking about people that are actually out there in the penitentiary, in the mix. It won't help them at all. They're pretty much going to be in the same position. Right. And then I'm going to just say one more thing about weed before I wrap it on up, put the bow on top. I don't think weed should be, how can I say, legalized officially and normalized in society. I think it should be in the taboo space to where it's not really a thing that you can go to, do a million years for. But at the same time, it shouldn't just be totally legal either, because what happens is when you take weed out of that taboo space, you're going to have drugs that fill the void. And what's filling the void right now is that fentanyl. That's what's filling the void. Okay, fentanyl is everywhere. It's to the point where weed has become less as fentanyl. People that snort cocaine is fentanyl. There was a big overdose situation in Las Vegas recently. They thought they were snorting cocaine, but it was really fentanyl, and they overdosed on it. That's what's happening right now in society. And part of the reason why fentanyl may not be necessarily classified as a certain kind of schedule or whatever, which is irrelevant because, like I said, if you get caught with weed in your car, you probably won't even go to jail, let alone to the penitentiary. But if you get caught with them fentanyl pills in your car, oh yeah, it's a wrap. You're going away. There's not going to be a warning or nothing like that. You're going away. Fentanyl, oh no, that's a wrap. But anyway, I think if you take weed out of that taboo spot, you're going to have other drugs fill the void, and we become a nation of zombies. What's happening to us right now is China taking revenge on the West for the opium wars back 200-300 years ago. Okay, they're flooding us with opiate derivatives, and we are, as a society, suffering. The leading cause of death for all Americans, I think, aged 18 to 49 is opioids, fentanyl, things of that nature, heroin. So when you take weed out of that taboo spot, what's going to be next? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about what Joe Biden has done as far as pardoning low-level marijuana offenses on the federal level? Will this really affect anybody? Do you know anybody that's in the federal penitentiary just for weed? Now, if they had 1,000 guns with bodies on them and weed, okay. But just weed, I mean, come on. Who's in jail even for that? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know what I'm at. You know where I'm standing. This is all about midterm elections, trying to buy some favor, trying to buy some votes. Oh, we're not doing very well in the polls. This gas is going back up, Joe. You depleted the oil reserves to make the gas prices go down, but then OPEC cut production by 2 billion barrels a day. You did not anticipate that, did you? So now gas going back up, 30 cents overnight, $1 overnight, and it's going to continue to rise up until the midterm elections and then beyond when you stop pumping that reserve oil. So you got to do something to win some favor, and it was the whole thing with the weed. That's exactly what's going on here. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.